Hello there, very good evening to you. Welcome to North West Tonight. I'm Eleanor Moore. It's our top story this Friday evening. 13-year-old Layla Allen has died in a house fire on Merseyside. Her family say she touched the hearts of everyone she met. 7 others escaped from the blaze last night. We'll have the latest from the scene. Also tonight, Joanne Sharkey killed her own baby in 1998. She's spared jail as a judge decides the case called for compassion.
Well, join me later at Aintree. It's been Ladies' Day here today. Tomorrow, of course, is the big race where the focus will be on safety.
And Chip Chip Hooray! A fond farewell to the Chippy, retiring after more than half a century.
And it's been the warmest day of this week. It's been gorgeous. Droneman Peak capturing Middleton in all its sunshine and glory. How are we doing for the weekend? Do join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
Now, just some of the tributes today to 13-year-old Layla Allen, who was described as a shining light in the lives of everyone who knew her. Those are the words of the schoolgirl's family after her tragic death last night in a house fire at Prescot on Merseyside. 7 other people, 2 adults and 5 children, escaped. Now police and the fire service are investigating, as Phil Cunliffe reports.
Well, throughout the day, as word has spread about what happened here on Kingsway, people have been arriving to lay flowers. The number of tributes, which also includes dolls and teddy bears and balloons, has been growing outside the home of 13-year-old Layla Allen. People have been stopping to read the messages. Many are from grieving school friends, the words reflecting their loss, which are truly heartbreaking. Layla died at her home after fire broke out in a first-floor bedroom at the rear of the property on Wednesday night. A neighbour called 999 just after 11:30. It took firefighters less than an hour to put out the blaze. However, despite their best efforts, they were unable to rescue her. A man, a woman and 5 other children escaped the property unharmed. In a tribute, Layla's family said she was a shining light in the lives of everyone who knew her. She was funny, charismatic and so quick-witted, always ready with a joke or a clever remark that brought smiles to those around her. Well, Layla was a Year 8 pupil at St Edmund Arrowsmith Catholic Academy. It posted a letter on its website earlier to break the tragic news to parents. The headmistress said Layla was a very special student, full of spirit, who brought happiness to the people she met. She had a very big personality and an even bigger heart, and her death will be felt deeply across the school. The school said it was laying on counselling for any students needing support. Likewise, Layla's family were also receiving specialist care from police officers. In the meantime, a joint investigation between Merseyside Police and Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service into the cause of the blaze is ongoing. Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight, Prescot.
And our thoughts tonight, of course, with everyone there. Right, some more news from around the region now. And around 2 men are facing long jail sentences after being found guilty of kidnapping and violently assaulting an 87-year-old imam as he walked home from a mosque in Oldham last year. The victim was beaten, blindfolded and bundled into a car before being dumped miles away in Yorkshire. The car was then set alight. Aziza Rahman and Shohad Mia will be sentenced in court next month. The government says it can't meet its own deadline of bringing in a so-called Hillsborough law before this month's 36th anniversary of the disaster, as they need more time to make sure the legislation's as effective as possible. It will aim to prevent cover-ups by making it a criminal offence for public bodies not to disclose the full truth. It's been confirmed that plans for a new coal mine in Cumbria have been abandoned. West Cumbria Mining's withdrawn its application after planning permission was overturned by the High Court, and that followed a campaign by environmental groups who've welcomed today's news. Now, Joanne Sharkey from Liverpool killed her newborn son back in 1998 while suffering from severe postnatal depression. She didn't tell anyone what happened at that time, including her husband, and said her secret had haunted her for 25 years. Today, she avoided jail and was given a suspended sentence after a judge said her case called for compassion. You may find some of the details in Mairead Smith's report upsetting.
This is the moment Joanne Sharkey was arrested in 2023.
We're involved in an investigation regarding a baby who was found deceased in woodlands on the outskirts of Warrington in 1998. So therefore, I'm arresting you on suspicion of murder of that child and also for concealing the birth of that child.
Joanne Sharkey killed her newborn boy at her home in Croxteth, put his body in bin bags and left him in woodland in Warrington. The identity of the baby detectives called Callum finally became clear after they found a DNA match for Joanne Sharkey's older son.
We got an email and it was titled, "Are you sitting down?" And the officer in the case and I sat there and looked at this email and we just couldn't believe we'd done it. And it was a 1 in 36 billion match.
Mrs. Sharkey hid the pregnancy and birth from her husband, friends and colleagues. Callum's cause of death was inconclusive, but it was likely he'd been suffocated, possibly when wads of tissue were placed in his mouth and throat. The community close to where he was found raised money for the baby's funeral. The judge told Joanne Sharkey she recognised that she had been suffering from postnatal depression after the birth of her first son and was mentally unwell at the time she killed her second child. The judge told Joanne Sharkey that nothing I can do or say can turn the clock back to resolve the tragedy of this case.
Regardless of how you presented to others, you lived isolated with this terrible and tragic knowledge for a quarter of a century. You have, furthermore, then had these proceedings hanging over you.
The detective who led the investigation told me she hopes other mothers will seek help if they need it.
It's a really tragic case and one which really highlights the need to provide good postnatal support to women, particularly postnatal depression in this case is so damaging. I've just encouraged anybody who's feeling not themselves to go and get help. We never want cases like this to happen.
Joanne Sharkey, now 55, was sentenced to 2 years in prison, suspended for 2 years, along with mental health treatment. Mairead Smith, BBC North West Tonight, Liverpool.
Well, if you've been affected by anything in that report, you can, of course, find details of where to get help and support. The BBC's Action Line, the details are on your screen there now. Now, next, a man made homeless by a tractor crashing into his house in Chester this week says he's been left with only the clothes on his back, some donated by the Red Cross. Darren Kern is not been allowed back into the property after the accident on Tuesday and says it's left him devastated. Well, Davina Ramos has been to meet him.
Imagine being woken up by this. That's the shock Darren's faced this week. He's unable to return to the home he's lived in for the last 12 years after a tractor crashed into his building.
I was asleep. There was a very loud bang. At first, I could see nothing whatsoever wrong. I looked through my bedroom window, which is at the back of the building, so I couldn't see any of this from there. And there was nothing untoward. I assumed it was traffic or something going past. It was only when the fire alarm went off that I left my flat into the hallway and saw that. And from there on, it was a blur.
Darren and his neighbours had to leave in just their pyjamas, furniture and toys still remaining where they were. Although his flat wasn't destroyed, the building it's in has been deemed structurally unsafe. It means he can't return home and could lose everything.
The building could essentially collapse any minute. Even for a split second, to go in there is not an option. They're hoping they can secure the building, but there are no guarantees whatsoever. So basically my life is in there and I can't get to it.
Cheshire Police are still appealing for witnesses following the crash involving a tractor and a car. The driver of the car, a 52-year-old man, was arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving and drug driving, but has since been released. Miraculously, no one was injured.
At the end of the day, it's bricks and mortar. Everyone got out. I suppose you have to remember that's the main thing right now. Everyone is safe.
For now, Darren's staying in a hotel and his life is on hold. His friend set up a GoFundMe page for him so he can buy clothes and other essentials.
It's literally building my life again. You know, you get to 44, you don't expect to have to start everything from scratch again and have to replace everything that you own.
Cheshire West and Chester Council's housing team say plans for temporary supports for the buildings have been produced. Darren's trying to stay hopeful, but has no guarantee if he'll ever be able to collect any of his belongings or where his next home will be. Davinia Ramos, BBC North West Tonight in Chester.
Really was a life-changing incident, wasn't it? Right, some more stories now from the North West, which you can read about online. A report has warned there could be more disruption to Merseyrail next winter unless changes are made to the network. You can see that on our Liverpool pages. Former Smiths guitarist Johnny Marr is honoured for his legendary support of vinyl record shops, and you can see him pictured there outside rather a famous one. And on our Lancashire page, the force's newest police horse has chosen her own name. You can find out just how she did it and indeed what her new name is on the Lancashire pages. Those stories and many more, of course, on the BBC News website and BBC News app today. Now then, what are your plans for tea tonight? It's Friday, or rather Fry-Up Day, as you can see from the pictures, so it's got to be a chippy tea, hasn't it? And for one chip shop owner in Liverpool, it'll be rather an emotional final fry, because Eddie Lockhart's retiring after more than half a century of serving customers at his family business. And our Merseyside reporter Andy Gill joined the queues today.
Oh, look at that. Hey, listen, I've enjoyed this, Paul. Thank you very much.
After 55 years, it's the final Friday fry-up at Eddie Lockhart's Chippy in Toxteth.
Well, it's a bit upsetting, but I have to go. It's time for me to go here.
The business has been in his family since 1959, and Eddie's mum brought him here when he was little.
My mother put me in a box to go to sleep in from when I was 7, in a pie box.
In a pie box?
Yeah.
Eddie's been serving here since the 1970s and took over in 1981. Lockhart's has been a key part of the community in this part of Liverpool.
Tell me what you think about Eddie retiring. Devastated. Absolutely fabulous man, fabulous chippy. Gutted, to be honest with you.
He will be missed. He will have greatly.
What makes the fish and chips and everything so good?
His personality.
We're going to miss him, but all the best for him. Jared, all the best for you.
Thank you very much.
It's been amazing for years. I'll really miss it.
The man who runs the next door business tries not to be tempted by the aromas.
When he's cooking, I try to not have chips, but the smell comes through. Nothing else you can do except go in.
Steak pie, chips and gravy.
One of today's customers was a local YouTuber ordering a repeat of the first ever chippy meal he had here as a child.
We always got the same meal, which was a small fish dinner. So I'm 47 now, and the last meal I've got from this chippy is a small fish dinner.
To a man and woman, there's one product the customers all rave about.
For me, it's the fish cakes. He just makes homemade fish cakes, and there's nothing that can touch them.
They were even stockpiling fish cakes for the freezer.
This time 12, I got 10 yesterday.
Everybody's talked to me about your fish cakes. So what's the secret?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, come on.
No, I can't. I'm not telling you. I'd have to kill you to tell you.
Eddie's planning a month of doing nothing and then dusting off his fishing rod. When you finally pull the shutters down, how do you think you'll be feeling?
Well, I'm dreading it. I am dreading it. I think I'll have a bit of a tear in my eye.
Andy Gill, BBC North West Tonight, Liverpool.
Right, sport now, and we'll be hearing all about the Grand National, of course, shortly. But first, it's the Manchester Derby, of course, on Sunday. Ian's here, and a big announcement ahead of that match today.
Yes, there has been, Ellie. Kevin De Bruyne announced on social media early that he's leaving this summer after 10 highly successful years at Manchester City. The Belgian midfielder has won 14 major trophies, including 6 Premier League titles and a Champions League.
He gave us, all of us, his humanity, and of course don't necessarily tell his influence, and every 3 days being there all the time, so that is no doubt.
So while it's the end of an era at City, Manchester United are hoping to end an era of losing more football matches than they win.
They have maybe the best coach in the world, so they have top players, so it will be a difficult match, but like I said, I'm so focused on improving my team that I'm not worried about the improvements of Manchester City.
Well, Everton have condemned death threats made towards James Tarkowski and his family following Wednesday's Merseyside derby. The defender, you might remember, was booked for a challenge on Alexis McAllister, but the Premier League's refereeing body later said he should have been sent off. The clubs described the threats as completely unacceptable. Well, Everton host Arsenal tomorrow lunchtime, while leaders Liverpool are at Fulham on Sunday. Tonight, Blackburn Rovers play Middlesbrough in the Championship. It's a Grand National tomorrow afternoon, so we'll either be toasting our success or, in my case, being despondent at losing my 25 pence each way bet. I'm reckless. Sunshine has graced Ladies' Day today, but ahead of the big race itself, there's a major focus on safety and welfare after a horse died during racing yesterday. Well, our own Judy Hobson, oh, there she is right now, is at the festival for us. And Judy, there have been several improvements to safety announced over recent years, haven't there?
They have, yes. Well, it's windy today, but it has been a glorious second day here at Aintree. No fatalities today, thank goodness. But Aintree has basked in the sun. It's been a really good day for racegoers. But yes, marred yesterday by the death of Willie DeHoo in the second race, despite a team of vets attending to him after he fell. But yeah, over the past few years, the Grand National itself has been the focus of attention in terms of safety. There have been huge train changes to try and make the race safer, and I've been looking at what measures are in place for those horses that have fallen.
The Lea Hurst Equine Centre in Wirral has some of the most advanced facilities for treating horses. This horse is lame and is having a CT scan on the stifle joint.
The stifle in the horse is the equivalent of our knee. The horse has actually been diagnosed with a cyst, a hole in the bone, and that's going to be injected now, or is being injected while we speak.
This isn't a racehorse, but during the Grand National meeting, staff here will be on standby to treat any casualties.
We have the closest stables to the hospital on standby for the racehorses. Types of injury we're anticipating: fractures, speedy cuts, or injury where the horse either strikes himself or is struck into by another horse.
Last year, no horses were brought here from Aintree, but it was a different story the year before.
We had 3 horses come over the year before last. 2 needed surgery, so they had keyhole surgery and tendon repair, stayed for rehabilitation. One was a very famous horse with the background story, Cape Gentleman, and that horse has had a brilliant recovery. Technology has really advanced. Lots of the fractures that sadly resulted in the demise of horses in yesteryear now are repairable.
A team of vets from Lea Hurst and 5 horse ambulances are also stationed at the racecourse. But it's the Grand National itself that causes most controversy. Over the past few years, changes have been made to the course and fences to try and make it safer. Racing here is constantly reviewed.
People will notice that the padding and paint on fences and hurdles now is white, and that used to be orange, and that was as a result of a study done by a university into equine vision that established that horses don't see as humans do, don't see colour as humans do, but what they see is contrast. Everything was changed a couple of years ago, and certainly the results that we're seeing now is an improvement.
The last year that I rode him, the fences have completely changed now, and look, it's for the health and the safety of horse and jockey. They still take an awful lot of jumping these fences around Aintree.
The team here at Aintree say the safety of jockeys and horses is paramount. And you'll be pleased to know this horse is back on his feet and doing well.
Well, that was the Lea Hurst Equine Hospital in Neston. But of course, now the big focus is on the Grand National tomorrow. And some big stories could be happening tomorrow. Could I Am Maximus come back and win it 2 years in a row? Could Rachel Blackmore win again? She won in 2021. It was during lockdown, so there was no one here to cheer her. But I think quite a lot of people in this region will be hoping Iroko comes home first. Trained at Malpass in Cheshire, and he could start favourite. The big race, the Grand National, tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
Judy, thank you. Right, Ian's here, and along with the wildlife, you and your sporting knowledge, of course, just one of the many attractions here at Salford Quays.
Yeah.
But you showed this week not just your sporting knowledge, but your secret kind of bill-oddie bird-watching side. Tell us what you saw.
Well, in a nutshell, I was on a walk yesterday on my lunch break, pondering my various disappointing life choices, and suddenly 3 blokes came running past me with their phone cameras out saying, "There's a black swan on the quays." So instinctively, like the journalist I am, I ran round, followed them and pursued it and told everybody in work, we've got to film this black swan.
And it has, in fact, been getting quite a lot of attention. So we sent Zoe Tays to find out more.
An unusual visitor at Salford Quays. A bright red bill, striking black feathers. This rare black swan has certainly made a splash.
Oh my gosh, an actual black swan. Not like an actual black swan. It's parading for us, to be honest, because, you know, it could have been way out there in the quay, but it, like, is right along the edge, so we can all just admire its beauty.
Just Googling it, because we've never seen a black swan. My son Rose actually here at Agecroft, and he said that he'd seen one earlier in the week, and we didn't really believe him.
Have you ever seen a black swan before?
No, this is the first time.
And what did you think when you saw it?
It looks pretty. We saw it on the Facebook page, actually, and then I was telling him that there's something new visiting the Quays area, so very delighted to see this now.
First time we saw it like last week, and we were actually really mesmerised to see it.
Black swans are native to Australia. They were introduced to the UK as ornamental birds, and those seen in the wild have mostly escaped from captivity, forming feral populations. The town of Dawlish in Devon is famous for having the UK's largest bank of black swans. A bird population study in 2012 found there were just 37 confirmed nesting pairs across the UK.
It's definitely a rare sight to see a black swan on Salford Quays, and this bird has stole the show today. Everyone's been stopping to take pictures and have a look. It seems to have made a few friends over there, and we have heard that it's been here a week, so it must be enjoying itself.
In recent years, a pair have also been spotted at Crosby Marina in Merseyside and at Marine Lake in Southport. It's the first time we've spotted a black swan in Salford, and how it got here, well, that remains a mystery. But one thing is for sure, it's definitely swan of a kind. Zoe Toes, BBC North West Tonight, Salford.
Ouch. Well, it might be. Some reports it's also been seen in Heaton Park. It is very striking, isn't it, Kay?
Beautiful. They've obviously come because of the weather.
Indeed.
Glorious weather that we're having. And thank you for sending in your glorious photographs. Beautiful photographs, so many to pick, all with gorgeous spells of sunshine. Bebster in Cheshire. Look at that, gorgeous. And picked because of the name, Sean Bean is fit. Thank you for that one. In Netherton, Merseyside, lovely photographs. If you'd like to send yours in, you can join me on socials or become a BBC Weather Watcher, and I'll try and get those pictures on the TV for you. So, this weekend, how are we doing? Good news is high pressure is going to continue to dominate right through into next week as well. This weekend is going to be slightly cooler, but it is going to be dry, and we're going to see some decent spells of sunshine. So, high pressure, like I said, continues to be in charge. Now, slight variations day by day as high pressure just starts to push a little bit further east, so we'll get more of an easterly breeze, but then the winds will start to die out. So next week, you won't notice the breeze as much. Fine if you're out through this evening, though still quite blustery. It stays dry as we head overnight tonight. Plenty of clear skies, particularly for the Isle of Man and coastal parts. We'll get a bit more cloud rolling into Pennine areas. And temperatures, well, I think for parts of Cheshire and Merseyside, dropping down to give or take around freezing in some spots. So there will be a patchy frost elsewhere between 4 and 6 degrees. Now, as Ian said, it is the Grand National tomorrow. How are we doing? Well, we've got a moderate easterly breeze, but it will be gusting to between about 20 to 30 miles per hour. So if you are planning on wearing a hat, then keep hold of it, because it will be a blustery day, but dry and fine. Lovely spells of sunshine make for some great photographs. Top temperatures across the board will come in between around 14 and 16 to 17 degrees, slightly cooler than we had today. Scoot through over into Sunday. It's going to be a chilly start to the day. Again, a patchy frost. Lengthy spells of sunshine through Sunday. And the difference being it won't be as windy on Sunday, a much lighter breeze, so it should feel fairly pleasant, a high of around 16 degrees. And the outlook looks lovely. And that's your forecast.
Thanks, Kay. And we were talking earlier about Grand National horse names.
Oh, we
So we'll be looking out for some of them. My favourite happens to be Duffel Coat as a name, but watch out for that local one in Rocco. Whether you're going to the races, just watching, enjoy your weekend.
Take care.
Bye.